What's up, guys? WWE Fan Talk here, bringing you guys a brand new massive Ringside Collectibles unboxing. I know what you guys know what it is in the thumbnail, but I right now do not know what's in this package. It's a complete mystery. But you can go to Ringside Collectibles, use discount code Tanner, TANNER, all caps, save 10% at Ringside Collectibles. Alright guys, without further ado, let's get this bad boy cracked open. Sorry about the cat farm over here. They're just going to be here the whole time. This is Jeffrey, this is Baby Black, just so you guys get to know who they are. But let's crack this bad boy open. Again, you could go to Ringside Collectibles. It is the best place to collect wrestling figures. They have about everything. I don't know. Some of the stuff is on pre-order right now, and you can go pick it up because they've been doing a lot of sales and stuff too. And a lot of things have been selling out, going back order, flip-flop, just because so many people are into wrestling figures right now. So I would go check out their sales. But I want you guys to see what's in here before I do. I literally have no idea. Alright guys, so I want you guys to see what's in here before I do, because I literally have no idea. So 3, 2, 1. What is it? I have not seen anything go up in stock at Ringside Collectibles.
Something with gold on this.
Something with... Whoa! Holy crap, guys. Is this what I think it is? It is! It is Series 3 AEW Unrivaled, guys. You know how hard it is to find these AEW figures? The Series 2 figures, we never got the Series 2 figures. Those literally just went out of stock like that. So I never got my hands on those. I did, on the other hand, purchase the Jon Moxley and the Hangman Adam Page. So those will be separate videos, but those figures come later. So this will be out first. But the first figure we have in the set is the first women's wrestler. I know we got Brandy, but this is like the most legit, women's figure we've got yet. This is Rhea right here. I hope it's Rio, whatever you want to call it. And it has she is the first ever, actually, is she the second? I think she's the first ever AEW Women's Champion. So we're going to take a closer look at that. I think there is a variant of this figure. I think there's 2 variants in this set. And what's crazy is I was watching a video review on AEW figures the other day, and somebody said there's the variants and there's the chase figures, and they're like, wait a minute, these are all chase figures. To a certain extent, like at first I was like, what? But it's totally right. These are all chase figures because you can't find them anywhere. Most of the time you find them at Ringside Collectibles, but even then they sell out pretty fast. So we have another set of Young Bucks. We got the Nick Jackson, my favorite member of the Young Bucks, my favorite brother of the Young Bucks. So very cool. But his older brother Matt Jackson, looking very sick. I think these figures look way better than the previous ones, but we're going to have to take a closer look at that. And then we have everybody's favorite comedic wrestler, Orange Cassidy. Very excited for that. I'm excited to see what kind of... not technology, but how they put this figure together. It's very interesting because this is a figure everybody has their eyes on. We also have Darby Allin. I wasn't the biggest fan of him. I'm still not the biggest fan of him, but he's growing on me. But yeah, the figure looks fantastic, so I can't wait to look at that. And then we have, potentially, my favorite figure in the set. We have Pac, a.k.a. Neville, if you knew him in WWE. So we're going to crack all these figures open. I am so pumped to get this whole set. I'm so fortunate to be able to review these. So make sure to go check out Ringside Collectibles if you haven't already. Use that discount code. And it's not like one of those scenarios where if you use my discount code, you can't use it another time. You could use it as many times as you want. So make sure to go check that out, and you'll definitely save some money on it. So let's get these figures cracked open. So before we get these figures cracked open, I want to take a closer look at the package. I know we've seen it before, but only for Series 1 because we haven't seen Series 2 yet. But we do have Series 3 here. So we're going to have, for example, we have Orange Cassidy. And what's cool about this is that the packaging is the same as before, and this is the type of packaging where I really don't want it to go anywhere. I want this package to stay the same design for like 10 series, and then maybe one day add a little bit something else to it. But I just love this design. It has so much nostalgia to it. We get this shiny gold color next to the AEW sign right there, AEW logo. We see the wrestler on the side, Unrivaled Collection. On the side it says Orange Cassidy. I hope you can see that and there's not too much glare. And then there's the side, and then we have the back. And something that's great about the AEW figures is that you actually get the date that they wore that specific ring attire. And that's something that Mattel used to do. I don't think they do that anymore. But that's something I love about these figures. And the packaging it feels so much better. So I got to give that to Jazzwares. The packaging feels so much better than the Mattel figures. It feels just more prestigious, and it feels more like rare almost. So without further ado, let's crack these figures open. Alrighty, starting with Orange Cassidy. Let's start with some of his accessories. He does come with 5 hands. He comes with these, I don't know what you want to call these. I think these are the more normal hands, I guess you could say. Like, he could do anything pretty much with these hands. Maybe mic holding hands, I'm not sure. And then he comes with 2 pocket hands, and then a thumbs up hand right there, which looks very nice. I think this figure looks very, very detailed. I love the style of Orange Cassidy and his character. He does come with this cloth goods jean jacket, which looks very nice. He does come with his shades, that nice lazy thumbs up. You get the Orange Cassidy t-shirt, looking very nice. And then a lot of people were wondering how this was going to work with the rubber on his pants and then the plastic. But I think that after posing it around for a little bit and kind of stretching it out, I think it actually looks really good. If you watch it in this video review, you're not really going to understand or get a feel for it. You really have to have it in hand to know what it feels like. Because I've watched a few video reviews now already watching it, and I didn't understand it until I actually had it in my hands. So the legs do go up about that far. They don't stay up, but it's still flexible enough. Like you can still like pose it around and stuff, and it does hinder a little bit, like that. You're not going to get the full range of motion. But it overall looks good and almost gives it more of a realistic look too. Like it stretches out the jeans and stuff. But yeah, it still works. It's still an action figure. We also get this lower thigh cut right there, I do believe. Do you actually get that? No, you don't. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. You do get this thigh cut right here, so you can kind of swivel it around. You get the double jointed knees, of course. You have these great designs coming throughout the pants, like they're the stretchy type jogger jeans-ish type deal. You do get to see some of his skin right there by his ankles, and you get these Orange Cassidy infamous shoes. He never changes his shoes. These are the shoes he even wore in the indies and stuff, so that's pretty cool. We get the hole in the pants with the knee pads sticking out with all these great designs and all the wrinkles and stuff with the other shoe right there, looking very nice. And the cloth goods are removable. Let's do that. Taking it off. It should be pretty easy. Oh, actually, it does have some Velcro on it. That's pretty interesting. Oh, it's not like an actual shirt. Interesting. Okay. It's attached to the jacket. I actually kind of prefer that. That's pretty neat. So you just kind of attach it like that with the Velcro. That's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the torso. This is a brand new torso, one we haven't seen yet. This looks exactly like Orange Cassidy's torso, his physique. It looks exactly like him. As you can see, they have fixed the skin tone, which looks very nice. And Orange Cassidy is not too tan of a person, so I think that they nailed it and didn't give him a pale look, which looks nice. I'm curious to see this. Actually, it does look a lot like him. Not as much as when you have the shades on, but I think overall, if you can kind of see those details, it looks pretty much like him. So let's get the hand pockets a test, or the pocket hands a test. Plugging them in, fairly easy. Double jointed elbows helps out with this, with the range of motion and everything. You can fit his hands in his pockets, which looks very nice. That nice rubber material. And if you were wondering what's underneath, if it's just pants underneath, it does look like it's just a sculpt underneath of the same color and everything, with just the rubber over it, which looks very nice. So I'm very fascinated with this figure. I think it looks just like Orange Cassidy, and if you're a huge Orange Cassidy fan, I highly recommend picking up this figure. Maybe the most out of the entire set, even though I haven't really taken a in-depth look at the other figures yet, but this is definitely a highly anticipated figure. And who would have thought, like, I used to watch indie videos of Orange Cassidy doing his comedic fighting or his comedic matches with other wrestlers where he does like his little kicks and that kind of stuff. I actually was at the first ever AEW show and Orange Cassidy was in the Casino Battle Royal, and I just was laughing my ass off because it was he has a pretty funny skit in his gimmick. So I think Orange Cassidy is a fantastic figure. 10 out of 10. I definitely recommend picking up this figure. Let's move on to the next figure in the set. Alright, moving on to the next 2 figures in this set. We have a pair. We have the Young Bucks right here. We have Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson. The reason why I'm doing these two in this set, or together in this section of the video, is because, of course, they are a tag team. They are brothers, and the figures are almost identical except for tiny little details. So taking a look at the older brother, we have Matt Jackson right here, and this looks just like Matt Jackson. I actually prefer this head sculpt over the other one. It's screaming. It has the longer hair, more glossy, like it's wet. The only thing I see is that he has like these dark circles under his eyes. And I don't think he's supposed to have that, because if you look on the picture on the back, it doesn't look like he has black eyes, so I don't know what that's about. Still looks just like Matt Jackson, not complaining. And then we do get the rubber goods, I guess you could call that. And this is a point where, like, you know, the rubber comes in handy because you're going to get more of a sculpt, and it looks more accurate, so I appreciate that. We do get the black, the blue, and the like pearlescent white, and the gold. We do get the tassels, and if you look underneath, you can see the tights with the shoes, which is accurate. I like how they did that. We do get the Elite logo on the back, and I think this figure is just absolutely fantastic. Now taking a look at the Nick Jackson, we get that nice head sculpt. I think that looks just like Nick Jackson. A lot of you were saying I look like him in the comments. I don't know why, but yeah, that is what it is. We do get a non-removable headband, and it says the Elite on top. I like when it is like permanent on the sculpt, because I hate losing the headbands and that kind of stuff, so I think that looks great. We do get the same exact entrance coat as the Matt Jackson. We do get the same tights, except it's kind of flipped, so we get the Elite on this side, and the colors are reversed. Same tassels and all that good stuff, and I think both of these figures are absolutely fantastic. Something interesting is that you have to remove the head in order to take these off, and the good thing is that it's not hard to remove the heads and even the torsos and all that stuff. So taking this coat off, pretty easy. It's kind of like a soft rubber. And we do get that classic Young Bucks torso that we got in the last figures, except with the new skin tone. Now putting the head back on. I do recommend heating up your figures before you play around with them and pose them and stuff, because there is a possibility of figures breaking, so I would just be careful. But that new skin tone looks very, very good, looks more accurate, and I think it looks absolutely great. And these Young Bucks, I think it's a new feet mold as well, because these are way easier to stand up. So props to Jazzwares for that. These Young Bucks figures are possibly the best figures in the set, but stay tuned to the end of the video to see the figures ranked from least to greatest. So let's move on to the next figure in the set. Next up, we have the next figure in the set. This is our first women's wrestler in the AEW Unrivaled line. I know we got Brandy, but this is more of a legit wrestler. So we have Rhea, the first ever AEW Women's Champion, and we do get the AEW Women's Championship. We have yet to get the TNT title as well as the tag titles. I'm assuming we'll get those down the line. But this looks definitely accurate to the actual championship. The only thing is that the strap is a little stiff, but it really depends on the type of belt, just like the Mattel belts. But I think it looks just like the AEW Women's Championship. I've never been a fan of the AEW Women's Championship. I feel like if it was made a little bigger, it would look better, but I feel like they made it too small for the women. It almost looks like a toy belt, so I don't know. I think it looks a little better in figure form than it does in person. And here we have Riho, and I think it looks just like her. The gear looks really, really nice. The only downfall in this figure is the head sculpt, and I think a lot of people agree with this. I think they could have done it a little bit better. But I think this figure and the attire looks very nice. The women's figures in the AEW Unrivaled line so far are better to me than the Mattel female figures, but we get that double jointed knee, we get the ankle pivot, all the stuff that I have gripes with in the Mattel line. We do get the double jointed elbows, all that great pink and white attire going throughout. I don't know if this is removable. I don't think it is, but you can move it around. I don't know why it's, you can move it around and stuff like that, but I think it looks just like Riho. So very nice figure right here. It looks just like her. All the attention to detail. And surprisingly, a lot of people are looking for this figure, so keep your eyes out at Walmart's and Ringside Collectibles. I don't think these are available just yet. They are up for pre-order, I believe, and they might go into back order, but make sure to go right after you watch this video and check to see whether in their pre-order, back order, in stock, whatever it is at Ringside Collectibles. Make sure to check it out. This figure is fantastic. Let's move on to her hands. She does get a few different hands. She gets the 2 hands that come on the figure. And then we get this hand right here. This is kind of like a claw hand, I guess you could say, or a grabbing hand. Interesting. We get this hand right here. It's just I don't even know what to call these hands, but you do get a variety of different hands to pose with. It's not really zooming in, but you get a right and a left hand for this specific pose. These are not focusing. And then you get a fisted hand, which is very nice. But this Riho figure is definitely awesome. I am impressed with it. Let's move on to the next AEW Unrivaled figure. Next up, we have the Bastard Pac, and this figure is probably my favorite so far. Let's take a closer look at him. I absolutely love the way this figure feels, and that's something that I love about the Unrivaled line is that they all almost have like a different feel for them. Like it doesn't all feel like the same figure, like the same torso and all that. Like every single figure feels a little different. Like for me, this almost feels like an SH Figure Arts figure. Like it just kind of has that look to it. But it's not. It's a Jazzwares figure in the Unrivaled line, and I just love that uniqueness about the torsos and all that great stuff. But we do get a brand new torso right here for Pac. It looks absolutely outstanding, and I think the likeness is definitely there for Pac. I think eventually in the future we should get a head sculpt where the hair is a little bit more slick back so we can see the fade on the sides. But I think this is fantastic. We also get another head sculpt with the hair in the face, which I think is great. And if you want to move the hair aside, you can see a little bit of the sculpt back there, and you can see the fade right there, but very nice. There is Pac, and I think it looks great. We get that awesome torso. I think the skin tone is fantastic. We get the painted on armbands right there, the wrist tape on each side. We get the tights with the gray, the light gray, and the black. This is very similar to his WWE gear when he was Neville. And then we get the infamous Pac knee pads and the under knee pads over there with the cool kick pads. I think a lot of people are wondering if these were Kenny Omega kick pads, and they are not Kenny Omega kick pads. These are completely different sculpts, so very cool that we're getting that. Very unique. But the way this figure poses is just very nice. Like you're going to get so many great poses with this figure. The torso, if you ever wanted to take it apart, you can. It's very easily. You're not going to break it. So that's something that's great Jazzware does and Mattel doesn't do, is that Jazzwares makes it easily for torso swaps and all that good stuff. Like you're not going to have to crack your figure or heat it up to take it apart. But that's very, very nice about this figure. And I think this is just a fantastic interpretation of Pac. We're also getting the first ever chair in the line, and I think this looks nice. Steel chair. It looks just almost exactly like the Mattel one, just slightly different. It has more of a metal look to it. So props to Jazzwares for that. It looks very nice. So there we have that. There's the Pac. He doesn't come with any interchangeable hands, but it's totally fine because he got an extra head sculpt and a steel chair, which I do prefer bigger accessories than the hands and stuff like that. Like I could give 2 craps about the hands. I'd rather have head sculpts and chairs and that kind of stuff rather than hands. So props to Jazzwares for that. Fantastic Pac. I definitely recommend picking it up. It is a must get. Next up, we have the last figure in the set. We have Darby Allin, and I'm excited to take a look at this figure. We do get a entrance coat with all these interesting hand paintings, or whatever you want to call them, symbols. It definitely looks like Darby Allin's entrance coat. All these interesting and unique patterns, and the sculpt is great. It's made with a very easily, it's a soft rubber, so you can kind of move his arm around if you want, which I love that a lot. It's easy to remove. Maybe remove the hands, but yeah, they're plastic. There is plastic in here just so you don't get rubbing or black paint rubbing off on the skin tone and stuff. So let's get these plastic pieces off. But I think this is the same exact torso, now looking at it, as the Orange Cassidy, but I think they also, what's weird is that they make it look like it's not the same torso, just based off of different skin tones, and the way the figure is put together. I wouldn't even tell that it's a Darby Allin or a Orange Cassidy torso. But we do get that tattoo on the chest right there. I believe it says, "Nothing's over until you're underground," or something like that. We do get that half face paint right there. Looks like a skeleton coming down his chest. And then we have the regular side right there with the fade, as well as the bleached blonde hair, spiky hair, looking very nice.
And then we come down to his short shorts. And this is something that I've never liked about Darby Allin. This is just like my preference in ring attire. I've always found it to be bizarre that he wears like short shorts and then black tights underneath. I've always hated that. I think he's a great wrestler, but that's just something about the character that I've never liked. But as for the figure, they absolutely nailed the interpretation. It looks exactly like Darby Allin's ring attire, which is very cool. And then we get those boots right there. I don't know if he actually wears those anymore or if he wears wrestling boots now, but we do have those boots right there, and they added that yellow, which is nice. But this figure has excellent articulation, just like all the other figures. Double jointed elbows. We got that wrist tape. We got the chain right here, but you can pop off the head and take the chain off if you would like to. There's the back of the figure. It absolutely looks fantastic. He also comes with a skateboard, so no interchangeable hands, just like the pack, but he does come with a entrance coat as well as a skateboard, which he uses quite often, so it's cool that we're getting it. There's the bottom of the skateboard, Darby Allin. It's all roughed up. I like how they didn't give him like just a generic skateboard. They gave him like a unique skateboard with all the detail. I'm sure they'll use this for other Darby Allins, but I love how they put so much effort and detail and made it look so realistic. So there's a Darby Allin, excellent figure. Let's get to my least to favorite figure lineup for Series 3 of the AEW Unrivaled Series. All right, moving on to my least to favorite lineup. As for these figures, they are in order. Starting over here, we do have the Riho. She is my least favorite just because I've been so excited for these figures right here. Not the biggest fan of Riho, but I think the figure is a perfect interpretation of her. There's nothing wrong at only maybe the face sculpt a little bit, but I think the sculpt is great. The gear is great. Everything looks perfect on the figure. The height, the belt is fantastic. I think it's an absolutely fantastic figure. And if you're a big fan of her as a wrestler, I definitely recommend picking up that figure. Make sure to go Ringside Collectibles and pre-order it or just pick it up when it does become available. Next up, we do have the Young Bucks. The only reason why they're a little further down the list is just because we have gotten other Young Bucks. We're getting them again. But these Young Bucks just smoke the other ones that we got because we got a new skin tone. We got brand new head sculpts which smoke the other ones. The gear on these is much better. It's just more of a generic Young Bucks, like, you know, something that they would wear on Dynamite every Wednesday. And I think that's something cool. We get more of a generic gear, but it's fantastic. The coloring's great. The entrance gear is great. And the head sculpts are fantastic. If I would choose one over the other, I'd choose Nick over Matt just because I prefer Nick as a wrestler over Matt, but I think they're both fantastic figures. Next up, we have Darby Allin over here. I think this figure is fantastic. I thought it was going to be a little higher up, but I think that these two figures are just that much better, and I'll point it out in a sec. But I think this figure's fantastic. It looks exactly like Darby Allin. I don't know how they perfected the formula for the figure, but I think the torso is great, the arms are great, the physique, everything about this figure, it looks like they just shrunk him down and he's right here. That's what's so crazy about this figure. And then we have Pac right here. I've been excited for Pac because Pac is just a phenomenal wrestler, and I think they got his physique down. They made him bulky and thick, even though he's like the same height as Darby Allin. So I think this figure is just absolutely fantastic. And everything about this figure is great. I notice on some of these figures, kind of like the Darby Allin and the Pac, the upper torso is a little lighter than the lower torso. But you can't even notice that unless you have direct lighting on it. But I think this Pac figure is articulated well. It's definitely one of the most good feeling in the hand. So I love that Pac a lot, and I definitely recommend picking it up. And then my favorite in the set is Orange Cassidy. I think that's everybody's favorite. I love the way they produced this figure with the entrance coat or the jean jacket, and how the t-shirt is connected to the jean jacket, sunglasses, interchangeable hands, the pocket feature with the rubber, and all the articulation and all the details with this figure. It's just phenomenal. It is my number one favorite in the list. Definitely recommend hunting these figures down, whether you go to, they're probably going to be hard to find at Walmart, so I definitely recommend hitting up Ringside Collectibles when they are available. I believe they are pre-order. If they do have the full set for pre-order, I definitely recommend pre-ordering this entire set. It is a phenomenal set, probably the best set yet. So I definitely recommend checking these figures out at Ringside Collectibles. Use my discount code TANNER, all caps, to save 10% at checkout. I will be doing reviews on two of the figures from Series 2, Jon Moxley and Adam Page. Look out for that. Thanks for watching, guys. WWE Fan Talk Show, out.